still don't have a single clear video of a monster? Almost every cryptid legend rests on a single piece of footage filmed more than 50 years ago, and nobody has been able to explain it to this day. In October 1967, two men were riding horses through a forest in California when they encountered a giant hairy creature nearly 3 meters tall and weighing around 300 kilograms. The horse became frightened and threw the cameraman to the ground, but he quickly got up, grabbed his camera, and ran after the creature. Then something happened that sent chills down the spine of the entire world. The monster briefly turned around and looked directly into the camera. This 59-second clip has been studied by everyone, from Hollywood special effects artists to leading scientists. And the craziest part is that nobody has been able to prove it was fake. Experts repeatedly point out that the creature's muscles appear to move beneath its skin in ways that the technology of that era could not realistically reproduce. And the filmmakers certainly did not have the money for such an advanced costume. But this is where the story gets even more interesting. Shortly before the trip, the cameraman had reportedly told friends that he was going to find Bigfoot and become rich. Years later, another man came forward and claimed that he was the one wearing the hairy costume as part of a publicity stunt. No physical evidence such as bones or DNA has ever been found, while the second witness spent the rest of his life insisting the encounter was real, even though the story ruined his life. So what was it? A real Sasquatch or the greatest hoax in history? Nobody knows to this day, but this footage changed the world forever. Kraken. In 1781, Swedish writer Jacob Wallenberg described a terrifying phenomenon. In the middle of the open ocean, the water would suddenly begin to boil, and a living floating island would rise from the depths, blasting columns of water from giant nostrils and creating waves for miles around. Scandinavian sailors during the Middle Ages feared this creature more than a violent storm. The appearance of the Kraken meant that the ship and its entire crew were doomed to sink. According to legend, the monster was more than a mile in size. It was first officially recorded by the King of Norway in 1180, and the word Kraken meant a twisted and deformed creature. The myth was so convincing that in 1735, Carl Linnaeus, the father of modern biology, seriously included the Kraken in the official scientific classification of animals. Norwegian texts even claimed that only 2 krakens existed on Earth. They were immortal, unable to reproduce, and spent their lives devouring tons of fish on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. In 1861, the French warship Alecton actually encountered a colossal squid off the coast of Africa. The crew failed to capture it, but their sketches proved that something enormous and frightening was hiding in the darkness of the ocean. Today, science knows for certain that giant squids exist, and they can grow up to 14 meters long. But what is the real truth? No squid in recorded history has ever physically sunk a ship. They simply do not have the strength to do so. The real Kraken is not an island-sized monster. It is an ordinary giant squid whose appearance in the middle of a dark ocean at night, far from land and without modern technology, transformed a 10-meter animal into a colossal, ship-destroying beast in the minds of terrified sailors. The legend exaggerated reality, but it did not invent it. Werewolf. Around 2,000 years before Christ, in Mesopotamia, people recorded the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known literary work on Earth. And even there, over 4,000 years ago, a man capable of transforming into a wolf was already mentioned. Later, the Greek historian Herodotus seriously described an entire nomadic tribe from Scythia whose members supposedly turned into wolves for several days each year before returning to human form. During the Middle Ages, this fear evolved into mass hysteria across Europe. People were genuinely put on trial and executed for werewolfism. In 1589, a German man named Peter Stump was captured and, under brutal torture, confessed to transforming into a beast and committing horrific crimes. He was ultimately sentenced to execution by breaking wheel and burned alive. Many historians believe that some of these legends were inspired by the terror people felt toward Viking warriors. The Vikings had elite fighters known as berserkers who wore wolf skins, entered a battle frenzy, howled, and slaughtered everything in their path. To the inhabitants of peaceful villages, such a warrior looked exactly like a real werewolf. The image of a monster that transforms during a full moon, passes on its curse through a bite, and can only be killed with a silver bullet became permanently embedded in popular culture and Hollywood films. Modern medicine has long explained much of this mystery through two real conditions. The first is hypertrichosis, a rare disorder that causes excessive hair growth across the face and body. In the Middle Ages, people with this condition were often seen as half-wolves. The second is clinical lycanthropy, a severe psychiatric disorder in which a person genuinely believes they are a wolf and begins behaving accordingly. But what is the real truth? Legends about werewolves appeared independently in cultures all around the world, from Ireland to Japan. This suggests that the werewolf is more than just an invented monster. It represents one of humanity's deepest and most primal fears, the fear of losing your mind, losing your humanity, and becoming a ruthless beast. Chupacabra. In March 1995, residents of Puerto Rico began finding